All my lights and reflectors, none are missing, cracked to the proper color. No leaks or debris in my truck. My truck is not leaning from one side or the other. Over here. Yeah, if you see this, guys, I know what's my alternator's belt driven, skilly mounted, not cracked. Belt's not cut or frayed, no more than 3/4 inch deflection. If you want to say 3/4 inch blade, that's fine. On my belt, my wires are not cut or frayed. My water pumps, gear driven, skilly mounted, not cracked or leaking. Hoses are not cracked, frayed, leaking. That's it on this side. You get that hood down, watch this mirror. Not so much concerned about you walking into it. I promise you, I'll scare the shit out of yourself if you look at it. Alright. I'm going to say my air compressor, my power steering pump, just like I did the water pump. My air compressor is gear driven, securely mounted, not cracked or leaking. Hoses not cracked, frayed, or leaking. Power steering pump, gear driven, securely mounted, not cracked or leaking. Hoses are not cracked, frayed, or leaking. My oil dipstick, I'd pull it out, check it, turn it and full. If I need to fill it, I would fill it here. My power steering, coolant, and washer fluid reservoirs are securely mounted, not cracked or leaking. They're all between add and full. If I need to fill them, I'd fill them at the caps. And all my hoses are not cracked, frayed, or leaking. You are now done with the engine, guys. Steering. Steering says skilly mounted, not bent or twisted. Steering gearbox, skilly mounted, not cracked or leaking. My hoses are not cracked, frayed, or leaking. Very, very redundant on the hoses, guys. Okay? It just is, but you gotta mention. The next three things you can add together. A pitman arm, a drag link. You get in when you see this, guys. Pitman arm, drag link, and tie rod. Securely mounted, not bent or cracked. Castle nuts and cotter keys or cotter pins if you prefer. Securely mounted, present on both ends. Done with the steering. My leaf spring hanger, skilly mounted, not bent or cracked on both ends. My leaf springs are not bent, cracked, or shifted. If you don't say shifted, you won't get the points. A key word they want to hear. Right here on every axle is going to be your U-bolts and mounts, skilly mounted, not bent or cracked. Shock absorbers, securely mounted top and bottom, both ends, how you prefer to say it. Not cracked or leaking. You're done with the steering. My brake lines are not cracked, frayed, or leaking. My brake chamber is securely mounted, not cracked or leaking. My push rod slack adjuster is securely mounted, not bent. If my wheel is chalked and my brakes released, they will not move more than 1 inch. My brake jaws are not cracked or dented. My brake lines are not cracked, excessively worn, or missing. You're done with the brakes. The ABCs of tires. I have no abrasions, no bulges, and no cuts. My tires are evenly worn, and I have a minimum, at least more than, however you want to say it, 4/32 inch tread. It's only one. Everything else we do is going to be 2/32 inch. My rim is securely mounted, not cracked, has no illegal welds. Lug nuts are securely mounted, none are missing, all present, again, however you want to say it. No rust trails or shiny threads indicate a loose lug nut. My hub seal is securely mounted, it's not cracked or leaking. My valve stem and cap, you have to mention the cap, securely mounted, not leaking. If I had a tire pressure gauge, I'd check it for the proper PSI. And you have to mention the gauge. Gotta mention the cap, you gotta mention the gauge. Point at this one and this one. My mirrors and brackets securely mounted, not cracked. My steps and my catwalk securely mounted, not dented. Put your foot up there. If you get Bill, you can say we'll support him as fat ass, and he'll give it to you. If not, just say we'll support my weight. I bet he may not give you the point if you don't say him as fat ass. My fuel tank is securely mounted. There's no shiny marks indicate a loose strap. My fuel cap is present and tight. There are no leaks underneath my fuel tank. I had a feeling it was going to happen. My door opens and closes, latches and unlatches. My hinges are securely mounted. They support the weight of my door. have a securely mounted, fully charged 10-pound BC fire extinguisher. Grab that door right there for me if you would, please. Back there are 3 red reflective triangles. The frames are orange, the reflectors are red. Make sure you call them red, okay? This is a circuit breaker equipped truck. I would keep any and all spare fuses either in the pouch or in the glove box. You guys can stop that. That's the end of section 1 right there. Ready? My seatbelt. It extends, latches, unlatches, retracts. It's not cut or frayed. My mirrors are set to my line of sight. They're not cracked. Excuse me. My windshield is not cracked and free of any obstructions. Now guys, you can't just start a truck. Okay, you have to allow a truck time to cycle through. So as I'm talking about my safe start, I'm gonna let it cycle. Maybe. Come on. Get that freight liner over there, that weight one. Alright. I'm about to perform a safe start. I need to make sure my brakes are set. My transmission is in neutral while operating my clutch. I need to make sure that my oil pressure will rise within 5 seconds. If it doesn't, I'll turn it off. And at this time, my ABS light will come on and go off. Start your truck. As soon as it recycles again, and your oil pressure rises, you can let go of your clutch. Now, you don't want to hold it any more than you have to, okay? Anyway, alright. My oil pressure has begun to rise. My water temperature is rising to operating temperature. My volt meter is between 12 and 15. And those are numbers you got to sell them. My primary and secondary air tanks are rising to operating PSI. And they will cut out between 120 and 125 PSI. Your lights are right here. Turn them up like this, guys. In the middle is off. Down is just the running lights. Middle is off, so if you're the last one at the end of the day, make sure you got that. Up is your headlights and everything else. As soon as you do that, my dash lights work. My left turn signal, my right turn signal. You got a red knob up underneath here, underneath the turn signal, pulled straight up towards the door. My four-way emergency hazards, whatever you want to call it, don't get prepared for it. I say four-way. The only way to turn that off is either your right left turn signal. If you try to push that in, spring loaded, you'll break that spring in there. And my bright light indicators all work properly. My city or my air horn, city horn, both work properly. Over on the wipers on the bottom one, just push it in, and once it starts to spray, let go of it. My wipers work properly. They're not cut or frayed. I have plenty of washer fluid. And we'll have this set between defroster and heater. You guys go to test. Turn your fans all the way up. My defroster and my heater both work properly. Now you're going to leave that on. Don't turn that off. I'll show you why here in a second. You're going to do a trailer brake tug test and a parking brake tug test. They couldn't care which one you do first. They don't care. But always try to do the same one every time. I got to keep telling you guys, the more we can do things the same, the easier it gets. I always do my trailer brake first. No rhyme or reason, I just do it. So what you got to do is push into parking. Now, the one I can read is the one I'm going to test. So I release my parking brake, I'm going to do a trailer brake tug test. A little bit off the clutch, that's all you need. Parking brake on, trailer brake off. Do a parking brake tug test, that's all you need. Now you're going to push them both in. Now I'm going to check my service brakes. Service brakes are nothing more than your foot brake. They just happen to be called a service brake in a truck. I'm going to roll forward 3 to 5 feet. I'm going to apply my service brake. I want to make sure that I stop and I don't pull or sway, however you want to say it, one side or the other. Guys, when you go to hit these brakes, make sure you push the clutch in a little bit before you do them. If you leave the clutch out and hit the brakes, you'll break your rear end out. Always clutch movement first. service brakes work, then pull left or right. Turn your truck off. Remember I told you to leave the fan on? Here's why. What is up with this switch? Yeah, I know. I'm telling you, it's acting like that 8-speed we got. But you have to turn your valve on to do your brake check, guys. If you don't have power, you can't finish your brake check correctly. Come on, fan. Come on. Anyway, in theory, you're supposed to be able to hear your fan. Anyway, now that you know you got power, guys, these are the 3 most important things you're going to do on this pre-trip from front to back. This is your brake checks. I'm going to do an air loss test with my foot on my service brake. Excuse me, I will not lose more than 4 psi in 1 minute. Will you time me? And Bill will say yeah. You can continue as soon as he tells you to get off the brake. Now I'm going to do a low air pressure warning light buzzer test. I'm going to fan or pump my brakes, whichever way you want to say it. I say fan, doesn't matter. At or around 60 psi, my low air pressure warning light buzzer will come on. See my light and hear my buzzer. Please don't say you can hear my light and see my buzzer. Nobody wants to see your buzzer in public. Now I'm going to continue fanning my brakes between 20 and 45 psi. And my protection valves will pop out. If you say my emergency brakes, that's fine, as long as he knows this is what you're talking about. Guys, at this point, you're not looking at anything but these. Nothing else matters. Because one comes out, it's going to sound like that. If they both pop out, there is no difference. Make sure they both come out. You can only do that by watching them. 20 to 45 psi. Hopefully this one comes out, so I can show you why we do this. Now they both come out. That's fine. That's fine. But you got to make sure they both come out. Now you won't do this on test day. I'm just going to do it now to air back. That's all. Alright, at this point you say, Bill, can I please get you to step out to the front of my tractor and assist me in my light check? This is the part Bill is going to, if you messed up your brakes, he's going to go, well, I could, but you sure that's what you want me to do right now? Do your brakes over. Fill it up with air and do your brakes. He does not have to cut you a brake, but he will. Alright, so you have your window down, he's out front, and you got 6 of them up front. The first one's like this. So McLaren slides. He'll thumbs up, something. He will acknowledge that he sees what you've asked him to see. A left turn signal, right turn signal, my 4-way flashers. This is the one, if people forget, they generally forget this next one, my low beams, because they're already on, and my high beams. Guys, it's like peanut butter and jelly. Keep your left and right together, your lows and highs together. Just that way you will never forget. Call him over to this window. Say, Bill, can I please get you to step to the left rear corner of my trailer and assist me in my light check on the rear of my tractor and trailer, side of my tractor and trailer. Guys, he'll check anything you ask him to. He's only going to check what you ask. Window will still be down. You'll be back here. 3 of them are on right now. My clearance lights, my running lights, or marker lights. I call them marker. And my tail lights. So you got marker, clearance, and tail. Left turn signal, right turn signal, 4-way flashers, and my brake lights. The last 4. Get this thing filled up with about section 3 real quick. You guys go ahead and stop that. Watch this light and that light. My lights are reflectors that are missing crack to the proper color. Come on over here, guys. My exhaust securely mounted, not cracked. There's no excessive soot to indicate an exhaust leak. My tractor frame and cross members securely mounted, not bent or cracked. My drive shaft universal joints securely mounted, not bent or twisted. You guys look in there going horizontal. That little skinny, looks like a little skinny shock absorber. You see that? Right there, see that? That's your torque arm. Torque arm skilly mount, not bent, cracked bushings are not worn. My airline skilly mount to my tractor and trailer, not cut, frayed, or leaking. My glad ends skilly mount, not cracked or leaking. The grommets inside my glad ends are not cracked or leaking. My pigtail or electrical line, your choice. Most people call it a pigtail. Skilly mount my tractor and trailer is not cut or frayed. My header board or bulkhead, I call it a bulkhead. Inside of my trailer is not ripped, torn, or no missing rivets. Then you're right back in here again. My leaf spring hangers, I check it like I did up front. My leaf springs, I check it like I did up front. My U-bolts and mounts, I check like I did up front. Step right over here. My shock absorber, I check like I did up front. Now this one here is a new one, so you got to say it. My airbags and mounts, securely mounted, not cracked or leaking. Come back here, find your brake chamber. It's the easiest part to see. My brake lines, I check like I did up front. My brake chamber, I check like I did up front. My push rod slack adjusters, I check like I did up front. My brake drums, I check like I did up front. My brake linings, I check like I did up front. These are bud space rims, are free of debris. No abrasions, bulges, or cuts, evenly worn. And I have at least two 32nd inch of tread, four in the front, so every time you say four. My rims I check like I did up front. My lug nuts I check like I did up front. This is new, this is an axle seal. My axle seal is securely mounted, not cracked or leaky. My valve stem and cap I check like I did up front. And all you gotta do is go, I would check this axle the way I checked that axle. Get credit for it. Okay? Now for the fun part. Oh, I hate this part. Get up here, guys. I promise you, I'm not doing down here a second time. My trailer apron, skilly mounted, not bent or cracked. There's no gap between my trailer apron and my skid plate. My skid plate is properly greased. My fifth wheel platform is securely mounted with mounting bolts to the frame of my tractors, not bent or cracked. My release handle is properly stowed in the travel scissors, safety latch is engaged. My fifth wheel is the proper distance from my landing gear. Here's where a lot of people lose a lot of points because shit's hard to see. My mud flask is flat guard, securely mounted, not ripped, torn, proper height for travel. Then you'll crawl up underneath there. You're going to point inside your fifth wheel. My kingpin, securely mounted, not bent or cracked. The locking jaws are securely locked around the shank or shaft of my kingpin, doesn't matter. Third time today. On my lights and reflectors, none are missing, cracked, in the proper color. My landing gear assembly, securely mounted, not bent or cracked. Crank handle is properly stowed in the travel position. Legs are fully raised. My landing gear feet or pads, either one's fine. Not bent, cracked, free of debris. Fourth time today. All of my lights and reflectors, none are missing, cracked, to the proper color. My airline's not cracked, frayed, or leaky, proper height for travel. My sliding tandem assembly, skilly mount, not bent or cracked. You see a locking pin in there somewhere, right there. My locking pins are fully engaged on both sides. My release handle is properly stowed in travel position, safety latch is engaged. My leaf spring hanger, I don't know if this is... See airbags back here? I don't think this is the one's got airbags. No. Okay. My leaf spring hangers, I check like it up front. My leaf springs and torque bar. It's new, you got to talk about. Not bent, cracked, or shifted. My U-bolts and mounts, I check like I did up front. My brake line like up front. My brake chamber like I did up front. My push rod slack adjusters like I did up front. Brake drums, brake linings like I did up front. No abrasions, bulges, or cuts. Bud space rims. Evenly worn, at least two 32nd inch tread. You can say like you did up there, just easier while you're here to do it that way. My rims like I did up front. Lug nuts like I did up front. Hub seal like I did on the front axle. Valve stem and cap like I did up front. I would check this axle the way I check that axle. A mud flap I check like I did up front. A tie back chain, securely mounted, not bent, no missing links. If you're testing this trailer does have an ABS, so you have to mention it. They'll be the only one you call it by the color that it is. My ABS light is not cracked, the proper amber color. My door handles, latches, tiebacks. Wherever there's no chains or tiebacks, where there are chains or tieback chains. Securely mounted, not bent or cracked. My doors open and close, they have no holes in the door. Hinges are securely mounted. They support the weight of my door. All of my lights and reflectors, none are missing, pattern the proper color. Step right over here. I would check this side the way I check that side. Your question to him at that point, how much time do I have left? 6, 8 minutes, whatever he tells you. First thing you're thinking about. Don't pick me, I know the answer.
Did you miss anything?
That would be my second question. The only thing back you get this far can fail you at this point.
You did your brake test right.
Did you do your brake check correctly? If you don't think you did, just say, Bill, will you please jump inside? I need to redo my brakes. You don't want to climb that truck any more than you do. If you did your brakes, nah, we're good. Cool. But you'll never make it this far. If you do my pre-trip, I promise you, you'll never make it this far if you get Bill. You'll get to the landing gear up there,